Hi, I'm James Van Osdell. This is Car Con Carne, and I'm recording this on February 2nd. As I'm recording this, the temperature in the Chicago area is about to plummet. We're about to hit those dangerous wind chill conditions we hear about every winter. It sucks. It's character building time in Chicago. It's woodshedding time. It's time for, if you're a homeowner, consideration about what the elements will do to your house. If you're living here, you know winters can be absolutely brutal on your house. Your gutters, windows, and doors can take a beating all season long. And then when spring rolls around, well, then the wind and the storms, they kind of finish what winter started. If you think, as a homeowner, city, suburbs, that you have damages that could qualify you for a roof and or siding replacements through your insurance, you need to talk to my friends at Suburban Roofing and Siding. They'll give you a free 9-point inspection of your property exterior before you call your insurance company. Let them assess any damages you may have. They can also walk you through the steps of a claim, hassle-free. They're an accredited member of the Better Business Bureau with an A+ rating, and all their contractors are licensed, bonded, and insured. They also use the highest quality materials available at no additional charge to you. Call them, 224-677-6149, 224-677-6149, or visit them at suburbanroofingandsiding.com. Car Con Carne is also brought to you by this book right here. We got it on screen, yep. 90 Days in the 90s, written by Andy Fry. Mine's pretty worn and weathered because I tore through it and I've shared it with people because the people I share it with love it. It's a story. It's a fiction book. It's a story about going back in time, but it's not like the time machine. There are no Morlocks. It's about going back to Chicago in the 1990s. If you lived through it, you know. If you didn't live through it, you probably thought at some point, wow, I wish I could have lived through that. It's because the Chicago scene, the music scene, was spectacular. Still is, but there was something really otherworldly about being part of that 90s music scene in Chicago. And that's what happens in this book. The protagonist, the record store owner, Darby, goes back in time to Chicago in the 90s, experiences all that cool pop culture that was going on, going to see cool shows, the Pumpkins, going to Double Door, all those places. You can see the 90s through Darby's eyes in 90 Days in the 90s. Again, written by Andy Fry. You can get it on Amazon, sure, or you can order it direct from the source, from the author, 90daysinthe90s.com. If you do that, you get yours autographed. I don't think mine's autographed, is it? I got to fix that. 90daysinthe90s.com. Go there. Get this book. Quick note before Car Con Carne officially begins. I'm going to do some business real quick. Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right. Quick note, Car Con Carne is nominated for Best Music Podcast in the City of Chicago in the Chicago Reader's Best of 2022 edition. Voting for that ends mid-February, I think around Valentine's Day. So please head on over to the Chicago Reader. I've been doing this for 9 years. I think last year in 2022, the nomination year, I did over 50 local band interviews, probably another 20 on top of that. I love music. This podcast supports music. Love your support in the Chicago Reader's Best of 2022. That aside, Eater Chicago named Bartoli's Pizza one of the essential deep dish pizza restaurants in Chicago. USA Today called Bartoli's Chicago's best pizza. Food and Wine said it's the best pizza in Chicago. I could go on. You probably want me to go on.
Oh, please do. Love hearing about it.
Bartoli's Pizza. That right there, if you're watching this, is Brian Tondryk. He is the owner and founder of Bartoli's. 2 locations. We're at the Roscoe Village one, 1955 West Addison. There's also a location in Westtown, 658 North Ashland. We're sitting here with 2 of your pizzas. I want to talk all about Bartoli's. I want to talk all about Chicago pizza, a subject which you are an expert in.
I like to think so a little bit.
Yeah. It's in your DNA.
You're definitely right, James.
It is in your DNA. So let's eat and talk.
Sure.
We have a deep dish pizza, and we have a thin crust pizza. What should we start with?
Well, let's start with the thin.
Because if we start with the deep dish, we may not have room for the...
That's right, yeah.
That's good
Save
strategy.
Yeah.
Okay, now this was something you asked me before we sat down. You said, what kind of pizza do you want? And I love being able to call my shot. The DIAVOLO spoke to me from the menu. Tell me what we're about to eat.
Yeah, so we just we created this pizza this past year. I wanted to do a spicy pizza on the menu, and I came up with it. It's really good actually. It's got a little bit of sweet, a little bit of savory. It's got the the coolness to it with the ricotta. We do Mike's Hot Honey on it.
Mike's Hot Honey.
Mike's Hot Honey, hot Capocollo, hot Soppressata. And the ricotta kind of cools it off on the finish, and even the honey actually, it's a little bit of kick to it, but it's really good. So it's not overly spicy, but it does have a kick.
As you describe it, it's like listening to erotica, hearing you describe all the details of this.
And it's a beautiful looking pizza too.
It is a beautiful looking pizza. It's glistening with love. Oh, look at that! It actually looks hot.
It looks really, yeah. The Calabrian Chilli Peppers is really what's hot on here, but
it's that deep, almost blood red.
Right. Yes. It scared a few people.
All right. Well, let's do this.
All right. Cool.
This is challenging to eat in a car, and that's part of the fun is the calisthenics around.
We've got plenty of room here.
All right. I'm going to grab.
This kind of reminds me of the Wayne's World pacer. All right.
Exactly.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right. This is the Diavolo, a relatively new addition. Thank you, sir.
Cheers. All right. Let's see what you think.
Is this going to make me sweat?
It does some people. Not me, but I like spicy.
That is really flavorful. Spicy as advertised.
It is. The Calabrian chilies was probably getting you, right?
Confirmed. And you're hit with the spice instantly, but then
the ricotta, you got to finish. The ricotta will cool it off, though.
That's smart. That's the dairy taking the edge off.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is divine. The hot honey is really.
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice touch. Because the pizza could have existed without the hot honey.
It could have, but I think it's a good balance. The honey actually makes a big difference gives a little bit of sweetness to it, with a little bit of cook, and it just kind of melds in with the ricotta.
Now, here's the brilliant thing about the Diavolo. My inclination eating at Bartoli's would be to plow through the pizza. You have to kind of pace yourself with it. You can't eat this too quickly. I'll start to hiccup if I eat this too fast.
Yeah, I think that a few people have actually had that problem before.
So this actually teaches discipline.
James, your window is fogging up from the deep dish.
It happens, and I realize your face is obscured by a pizza box. So I'll put it back on the dash in a second.
Yeah.
Wait, I want to have one more.
Have another slice? Yeah.
I'll have a corner.
A little corner. There you go.
Are you a middle piece or an end piece guy?
I like the ends. I like the crust. Yeah. Definitely.
You like the handy carrying?
Yeah, for sure.
It's interesting. We'll talk about the deep dish pizza when we break that open.
Yeah.
Chicago, obviously known for deep dish pizza. I feel like there's almost been this weird pushing back on deep dish in recent years.
There has. Yeah, there's been some negativity.
Why?
A lot of people claim that deep dish isn't a Chicago pizza. It's a tourist pizza. If the actual truth is, it is a Chicago pizza. It's been around since 1943. It's been around as long as the thin crust has in any place I can think of in Chicago. And we sell a ton of it. So, Lou Malnati's and all the other places, they wouldn't be in business if people didn't eat it. And it's not just tourists that are eating it. So, it's definitely a staple in Chicago.
Yeah, like I don't eat deep dish every time I have pizza.
Right. I think deep dish is more for an occasion. It's not every day. Mm-hmm. It's not your pizza you're going to eat 3 times a week. You're going to eat thin most of the time, and then you're going to have a deep dish every once in a while. And that's how we kind of sell at the restaurant. We sell 3 times as much thin crust as we do deep dish. So people always order a deep dish and a thin crust at their parties or at their meals, and it's like they kind of go together.
I should mention National Pizza Day is the 9th of February.
It is.
I would say that's kind of like your Super Bowl, but then the Super Bowl's the week after that.
Yeah, the Super Bowl's insane. We get so busy on Super Bowl, it's you can barely keep up.
Who doesn't order pizza in the Super Bowl?
Everybody does, and they all order it at the same time. So, yeah, it's kind of a mess.
So it's all hands on deck.
I tell people to pre-order.
Oh, that's smart. You do that?
Yeah, I tell them to order early. I just get it.
Both locations?
Get both locations, yeah. Both locations get insane. It's a 2-hour period where everybody orders.
What about Valentine's Day? Do people do...
Yeah, we get quite a few heart-shaped pizzas on Valentine's Day. We do a deep dish and we do a thin crust heart-shaped.
Nothing says love like a good pizza.
It is, and it's a cool-looking pizza. It's beautiful.
And let's face it, for first dates, they're probably not ordering pizza, but for couples that have been at it for a while,
They're ordering heart-shaped pizza.
Yeah, we're gonna stay in. We're gonna watch a movie, and we're gonna order a kick-ass pizza. That's
it. Yeah.
That's Valentine's. There you go.
Valentine's Day is a big pizza day. It's one of the busiest days of the year. It gets really busy.
What are the other ones? New Year's.
New Year's Day is busy. Halloween is insane. Halloween is definitely top 2 of the year. Halloween, and what else? New Year's Eve. Yeah, those are all the big days. Yeah, Super Bowl.
So you opened 10 years ago?
We opened. It'll be 10 years in June at the Roscoe Village location, and then the Westtown location we opened up a week before COVID shut down the city. So that was fun.
I hear that story from a lot of restaurateurs.
Yeah.
Like, what do? You got to keep
we
soldiering on.
We did. You know, we ground through it and we made it. I mean, we could have easily closed the doors. The first couple of weeks, it was like nobody was buying anything. They were afraid to touch anything, and no one knew we were there. So you know, we just the neighborhood did start supporting us. We started doing a lot of a little bit of social media to get us out there, and we did a ton of donations during COVID. We were helping a lot of people, which is cool. It was fun.
This pizza, the Diavolo, gets better with each bite.
It's good, right?
I think my tongue was shocked when I first took that first bite, and now that I'm in it,
you're in it.
Like I can't get enough.
Right. It's good.
It's the honey.
You like that kick at the end?
All that flavor together. Yeah,
it does. It's a good balanced slice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because there's sweet, there's heat. This is delightful.
Good. I'm glad you like it.
I can't even believe we're about to dive into a deep dish as well.
We are, yeah. We've got a Chicago Classic, so that's kind of a mainstay here in Chicago. I think everybody's got it on their menu. It's sausage, mushroom, onion, green pepper. Some people add pepperoni to it, and they call it a deluxe. But we just went with the basic today.
All right, I'm going to request a napkin.
Absolutely. Here you go.
This is not a dainty,
sticky,
delicate.
A little sticky.
Yeah.
We'll just wait till the deep dish gets.
So in 10 years, like what's been the high point? I mean, I mentioned a lot of the accolades you've received.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of TV for Bartoli's.
We've had a lot of great TV. We've been on Travel Channel, Cooking Channel. We were on Chicago's Best. Hungry Hound gave us #1 deep dish in the city. We've been on quite a few networks, and Food Paradise on Travel Channel. That was a fun one. My favorite one was still Chicago's Best. That one was awesome. I had Brittany Payton came out, and it was just a great interview. It was a lot of fun.
But you've never done an interview in a car.
This is my. I was excited about this. This is cool.
You never forget your first, Brian.
No, this is cool.
All right, let me put that on the dash.
Yeah, all right, let's switch it up.
This is great.
Good. I'm glad.
This is great.
We're selling a ton of it.
Are you really?
Yeah, it's become real popular.
That seems like something Chicago people would like.
Yeah.
Give me the hottest thing you got. All right, so this is.
Probably should have brought a spatula here, but we should be able to.
All right, here we go.
This.
Now this.
Did I give you the plates yet? No.
No. This right here, what we're looking at. There's no other way to say this. This is Chicago we're looking at right here.
How does that look?
My mouth is watering and it's full of food already. I mean, this is a Chicago deep dish. This is gorgeous, and it smells. I mean, there's no way to translate the smell of something through a camera or a microphone. But
this combination is the #1 seller for sure. For a specialty pizza, I still prefer just plain sausage. That's my favorite.
I love sausage on a pizza. I don't like green peppers really on anything other than a pizza.
You're right.
That's the only time I care about green peppers if it's in a pizza.
It's either one of the two people leave off. It's either the green peppers or the onions, but they always leave the mushrooms and the sausage on there.
You mentioned some of the other restaurants in town like Lou's, etc.
Sure.
It is interesting to me and awesome to me that all these pizzerias can coexist. Chicago is big enough to have room for them all.
Absolutely. I mean, look, all of our pizzas are a little bit different from each other, and everybody likes a certain style and a flavor, right? I've got a lot of fans that prefer mine over Lou's, and they got their fans, and it's good. Actually competition makes us better.
I completely agree with that.
We have so many pizzerias in this neighborhood. I mean, it's unbelievable, and they keep popping up every other day. So, we're still here, and we have good loyal fans, and it's awesome. Yeah.
All right, so tell me about your deep dish. What makes Bartoli's deep dish different from the rest?
So the crust is obviously one of the most important things on a deep dish pizza. It's got to be able to stand up to all the ingredients that you have on there, the sauce. Deep dish pizzas are a little bit heavier than thin crust, of course, although less heavy than stuffed pizzas that doesn't have the extra layered dough. But our crust really holds up really well to all the ingredients, and that's one of the main things. It's kind of a buttery, crispy, light, airy crust, so it's not going to fill you up like some other crust will. So it's a balanced amount of cheese on the pizza, balanced amount of sauce. You don't want too much sauce, and you don't want too much cheese, otherwise it's too heavy.
Yeah, the ratios are critical.
Very critical. Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's try this.
All right, cool. You want to just grab one, or you want me to pull it out there for you? Here, we'll
give us a shot.
All right, let's see if we can get it off.
Are you going to use the plate as the spatula?
That's going to we'll have to slide it on there. That's there we go.
You did it.
That one's for you.
It's like you own the place.
Yeah, well, it's settled down a little bit. I've never done this before. First time.
Look at that. Look at that. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, it's going to be a little messy. Apologies to people watching.
Look at it. Did you get the cheese shot? The cheese
look at that.
Look at
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I don't know if you can camera
It's on the
get
screen.
that.
It's on the screen.
All right, cool.
I'm going to kind of slide it off the edge of the plate and kind of eat it.
There you go.
Uh-huh.
You know, if we just had straight sausage, it would have been easy to pick up. But since it has all, there's a lot of water in it, so.
Already, I'm in love. The cheese is delicious.
Whole milk mozzarella from Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely delicious. Now, I want to talk about your family history, but before we get there, had you run a restaurant prior to Bartoli's?
No, I hadn't actually. So the story is I was in sales. I was in consulting before this, and my grandfather, he had a restaurant. I don't know if you want to get into that yet. We can talk about
Let's
him.
get into your grandfather had a restaurant.
Yeah.
Say what the restaurant is, because OMG.
Yeah. He started Gino's East Pizza, which is legendary in Chicago. Opened in 1966. And they had lines down the block back in the day to Michigan Avenue. It was, a couple-hour wait to get in there, and they seated about 550 people. So
Gino's, I think, may have been my first exposure.
To deep dish?
Yeah.
Okay. My grandfather was really my inspiration for doing this, and I always had the passion for it. And 2013, I said, you know what, I'm not getting any younger. I started working on some recipes. I moved some stuff around and started making pizzas for all my friends, bringing them to parties, to the bars, and they're all like, yeah, you got to open, man. You're ready to go. So then we found the location over on Addison, and I bought the building and opened up in 2013.
Damn, and it's Addison and Damon.
Addison and Damon. It's basically at the corner, yeah.
Easy shot from anywhere on the north side.
Exactly, yep. Right off the Brown Line, too, which is easy for a lot of people to get to.
What would your grandfather say if he knew what you were doing?
I wish he was alive to see it, and I know he'd be proud to see that I took after this, because my mom didn't want to do it when they sold the restaurant. My mom and my uncle, they had their own businesses, and they didn't really want anything to do with it. So I always wanted to do it. That was my thing, and I did it. Yeah. And we were fortunate when we opened up. We were busy. We never had a slow day, which was great.
Did you take lessons or recipes from your grandfather?
So I took some original family recipes and I reworked them. I don't really know exactly what Gino's recipe was because we don't have it written down anywhere, and my grandfather isn't alive to tell me. So
was it one of those things where it was so well kept of a secret? It was orally shared.
Well, yeah. I mean, I had an idea, and we used to make pizza at my grandparents' house, deep dish, and I knew it was probably close to what they did at Gino's, and but everything I did, I changed things to make it mine.
I used to travel with a Tide pen, kind of like an EpiPen, but for spills. I don't know what I was thinking. I should have brought it tonight. I'm already wearing this home.
How do you like it?
I think it looks fetching on me. It's a really good look.
Good. Yeah. All right.
This is the sausage. Tell me about the sausage.
Yeah. So we get our sausage made from my butcher, and it's a small little butcher over on the northwest side of Chicago. I don't use any of the big chain type pizza sausages, which is they buy from the big distributors and all that, and they're made by thousands and thousands of pounds. We buy from a small butcher. We support local small businesses.
Love it.
Yeah, and it's a family butcher, so he uses our recipe. He's got he makes great sausage. I just don't have the time to do everything in house, and that's one of the things that we did farm out. But
if you're going to farm it out, do it right.
Do it right, exactly. Yeah, and everything else is made in house. The dough, the sauce. I still make the dough. I've made every batch of dough except for when I went on vacation in 9 years. So I want consistency. When I opened up the second restaurant, that was something that I said if I'm gonna do it, it's got to be the same.
Yeah, people have to have the same exact experience.
Same thing. The only thing that's a little bit different over there is the oven. It's a revolving oven, and it would like a 1961 Middleby Marshall. It cooks great pizzas though, so there's really nothing to complain about when the pizza cooks in it.
This pizza is so good, and the onions add that sweetness.
Uh-huh.
And what I like about the sausage, I realize you don't make it, but we've all had sausage that is too fennelly or too much. This is like just right.
You know, a lot of people put different things in their sausage. This is really more old school sausage. It's just pepper and fennel. That's it. So there's not little salt, pepper, and fennel. That is it. So we try to stick to the basics.
It's more subtle.
It's more subtle, right? It's very good though.
I love this. All right, where do you stand on pizza for breakfast?
I love it.
I love
deep dish is actually the best for breakfast. This stuff, if you have leftover deep dish, you can freeze it, you can do whatever, and just warm it back up. It's going to be better the second time because that sauce is going to caramelize.
I love it straight out of the fridge.
Out of the fridge?
Doing it
cold? You like it cold, huh? Yeah. Well,
deep dish, though. Maybe not as much thin crust, but deep dish for sure.
Deep dish you can have cold for sure. Yeah, it's really good.
This is great. I apologize for the mess I'm making on camera. I'm eating deep dish pizza from Bartoli's. It cannot be helped. Do you remember the first time you went to Gino's?
Yeah, I was little. I want to say probably like maybe 3 or 4. I could have, my mom probably took us when we were babies, but I don't remember that obviously. But it was fun. It was a cool old building. It was built right after the fire, 1872 I think it was built, and it's in that old historic area in downtown Chicago.
When you say built after the fire, that's right after the fire.
It was right after the fire. Yeah, it was one of those when the city burned down. That building was built within 2 or 3 years after that, and it was old. It needed a lot of work, and unfortunately, they ended up tearing it down and building a newer building, which doesn't have the same character in my opinion, but it's still cool.
You're kind of a Chicago, I don't want to say history nerd, but historian.
Little bit. I mean, I love reading. I'm on all the old, Facebook, social media sites with old historic Chicago photos and things like that. And I kind of followed it. I did study a lot about the history of the stockyards and the World's Fair and the Columbia Exposition, all that stuff. And my families both my sides of my family are one's from the north side, one's from the south side. So one is from back of the yards, which is right where the Union Stockyards is, and the other is from the north side. My grandfather grew up in Old Town. And on my Italian side, and then my grandparents on the Polish side, they grew up in back of the yards. So it's kind of a interest. The back of the yards was crazy big back in. You've seen that before? Yeah. I mean, it smelled so horrible from one of the stories I've heard from my family members and whatnot. They had a couple bars down there on the south side, and all the workers would get out after work and come drink at the bars and just have a good time.
I noticed you're a historian or into Chicago history just based on walking into Bartoli's here on Addison by Addison and Damon. You have basically walls of Chicago-related memorabilia and imagery, like right above the register. When you walk into Bartoli's, there's like a collage above the window of all this like cool Chicago, like all these antiques, like Riverview paraphernalia.
Yeah, I wanted it to be cool. I wanted the restaurant to be old Chicago, like just everything in the restaurant Chicago. So we built a mural with images of the stockyards with antiques, things like old cans, like Green River we were talking about earlier. How everybody loves Green River, all the stuff that was manufactured in Chicago. I mean, people don't realize. The younger people don't realize that Chicago was the manufacturing hub of the United States for a long, long time until probably the 70s. And then it started.
I don't think I realized that.
Disappearing. Yeah, everything was made here. But if you look at something back in the day, it was said made in Chicago. So, and fortunately, we've lost a lot of that. But I put a lot of that stuff up on the wall just so you could see all the stuff that actually was manufactured in Chicago.
And I mentioned Riverview, and I remember growing up, my grandparents would talk about going to Riverview, which Roscoe Village, not far from here.
Yep.
This
is Roscoe Village. Yeah, we're in it.
I mean, Riverview is not far
from here. Yeah, close. Yeah.
And I've got to think somewhere on these streets, maybe there's still someone from that generation who remembers that.
For sure. My mom, she used to go to Riverview when she was a teenager. It closed, I think, in like 69 or 70.
And you've got Kittyland stuff. I remember going to both Kittylands.
Yeah. Yep.
On McCormick.
Oh, I only went to the one over in Melrose Park. Yeah.
But there was one, I hope I'm not remembering this incorrectly. There was one over by like where Lincoln Village is now.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah, I don't know about that.
Maybe this is a false memory planted in me, but I'm pretty sure. But certainly Melrose Park.
Melrose Park, yeah, the train and the roller coasters. That was a lot of fun when you were a kid. It was sad to see that torn down.
Same, and I was really excited when I went to Great America maybe 5 years ago and saw that they have the Big Dipper coaster from Kittyland at Great America.
Oh, cool! I didn't know that.
That kind of like kids wooden coaster.
Yeah, so the little kids can go on it. Yeah, that was a fun coaster.
That was a fun thing to preserve.
Yeah, and the old train. I wonder what happened with that. That was really cool.
So speaking of this neighborhood, a place like Bartoli's can't exist without neighborhood support. Tell me about the relationship with this area.
Oh God, this neighborhood's great, and I was so happy that when we first opened up here, because I've lived in the neighborhood for over 20 years. And I was happy to be able to find a building in the neighborhood. But the neighborhood's been great. The people have been so supportive of us. We support all the schools, all the community events, everything. We do a lot of donations, fundraisers for everybody, all the local schools around here, Lane Tech, Audubon, all these different schools. So, but in return, they've been supportive of us. The families have all supported us over the years, and couldn't be in a better spot.
In addition to pizza, you have sandwiches. Meatball, Italian beef, all the stuff you'd kind of want to have in a place like.
Yeah, it's nothing crazy. At West Town, we do pastas. We have great pastas. We do a lot of catering. The Roscoe Village store is more sandwiches, apps, and salads. Yep.
Because this is convenient enough to Wrigley.
Yeah, we're a 12-minute walk from Wrigley. I mean, that's it. And the Brown Line's right here, so it's really convenient to get through wherever you're at in the city.
I love it. Yeah, just west of Lincoln, east of Damon. Piece of cake to get to.
Piece of cake, yeah.
All right, so Bartoli's, again, 2 locations, 1955 West Addison, 658 North Ashland. After all these awards, after these delicious pizzas, what do you do next?
Sleep. It's a job. It's 7 days a week. If I have the energy, I might do one more store. We'll see in the future. I just like to control everything. I don't want it to turn into a big chain where we lose control. That's the main thing for me, is just the quality.
I get it. Well, the quality is great. That DIAVOLO pizza is that is poetry.
Good.
And this deep dish, this is when you hear the term Chicago deep dish, you think about what we just showed you and what we ate. That is it. That's it. This is Exhibit A right there.
This is old Chicago deep dish pizza. This is what people remember back eating when in the 60s, 70s, 80s. This is it.
This is no BS deep dish pizza.
It isn't. It's not foo-foo pretty, but it's good.
Oh, it is pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty in its own way.
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah, it's true. Right.
I think it's awfully gorgeous. All right, thank you so much for jumping in the car. We're recording this on February 2nd. It's like 29 degrees now. This is one of those nights where by the time we go to bed, it's going to be like sub-zero wind chills again.
It's going to be freezing tonight.
So I'm glad we could do something fun before we just freeze our asses off.
I agree. That was great. I appreciate you having me on.
Bartoli's Pizza, go there, Addison, go there in West Town. I'm not making up my reactions. This pizza is spectacular. Really good stuff. Thank you for doing this.
Thanks, James. Appreciate it very much.